Footy star Billy Slater was hit, he hit back. The man walked away. Not everyone does.
What it's done to our children and what this has done to us. We don't want it to happen to anybody else.
I'm here to announce that the government is proposing to introduce a new offence to cover situations where unlawful assault causes death.
He probably didn't even see the punch coming because he didn't expect it. And while he was lying on the ground, this individual proceeded to kick him a number of times and then he dropped onto his chest.
The laws I'm proposing for New South Wales will carry a maximum penalty of 20 years imprisonment.
18-year-old Thomas Kelly was killed as the result of a king hit to the head by a drunken Kieran Loveridge. Guilty of manslaughter, Loveridge was sentenced to 6 years imprisonment with a minimum term of 4 years. It was seen as deeply unsatisfactory by many.
4 years? It's a joke. A joke.
The voice of Thomas's parents, Kathy and Ralph, has gained traction. The community want to see an end to drunken idiots destroying lives. Somebody had to do something.
That's why we're doing this. We're doing this to show that we don't just sit on our hands.
The New South Wales Attorney General Greg Smith has announced plans for a new law that will see a maximum penalty of 20 years and no requirement to prove intent for the offence of causing death as the result of an unlawful assault.
The new offence and proposed penalty will send the strongest message to violent and drunken thugs that assaulting people is not a rite of passage.
The reality is, young men, because these events are usually young men, are usually intoxicated on a Saturday night. The last thing they're going to be thinking of is what does the statute book say about this. I really see it having little to no effect whatsoever.
Criminal lawyer John Sutton adds that the proposed laws have no mandatory sentence. If you punch someone occasioning death, you won't automatically get 20 years. The judge has the same discretion as in manslaughter, which carries a maximum penalty of 25 years.
To see a new piece of legislation, which effectively is a political stunt in my view, is just a waste of the taxpayers' time and money, when perhaps what is really required is some education.
The boys who were with Matthew said Matty probably didn't even see the punch coming. In the way that he crumpled to the ground, he was probably unconscious before he hit the ground.
Paul Stanley wants kids to learn that youthful brawling is deadly.
But he had 2 fractures to his skull, 4 broken ribs and a crushed lung. And the doctor came down, he's got horrendous brain injuries, they're irreversible and he's going to die. And he did.
Paul's 15-year-old son Matthew was bashed to death at a house party. The killer received 5 years but eligible for release after 2.5. On the other hand, Paul has lost a son. He is cynical about the new laws.
If you found guilty or plead guilty to manslaughter in New South Wales, the sentence would be up to 25 years. It's never ever given that much, but now what they're doing is waving a flag and screaming and shouting, say how brilliant we are. We're now going to bring it back to up to 20 years. So they're actually reducing it, and there's no mandatory sentence involved with it.
I'm afraid that a mandatory minimum would be most inappropriate for manslaughter. Why should somebody who pushes someone not expecting anything bad to happen, but they're killed, receive the same sentence as someone that takes a gun and shoots someone in the head deliberately?
It is a valid argument, but a hard one to make to a grieving parent.
I don't know what else I can say except he was just the most beautiful kid who had his whole life in front of him, and it's taken him 18 years to feel comfortable and loved. And he's finally got his feet on the ground and had a purpose in life. And it's gone.